Oh, it's a lag behind on your phone.
A little bit. My bad, dude. I had to
Yeah.
grab my water. I
Oh,
left it out in my kitchen.
it's all good. That's
I
all
know I'm
good.
gonna have a dry mouth or something. I'm gonna talk too much.
Okay. So, Steve from Splenda Sports on Instagram. Hey, man, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you? Hope all is
I'm
well.
good. I'm good. It's a impromptu live stream, and I thought, hey, I was gonna go on. I just decided to text you saying, hey, if you want to come on, you're more than welcome to come on. So appreciate it.
I I
Last minute.
just I just finished the John Wick trilogy, so I was
Okay.
like, I was just about to hit the hay, and I saw you message me. I was like, it's a little early. I can jump on.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Let's look at some comments here. Blaze One Sports, Hanky time. You know it. You know it. Hanjwa says Hanky Panky Saturday. What's going on, man? All right. So we've been messaging each other a lot, and we tend to see eye to eye on what's going on in the hobby. And we just see this common theme of people pushing back against my narrative and people who think like me. So I still don't understand it. I mean, I see people saying that, like, how could you say this? How could you say that? It just, I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Your thoughts?
I mean, I understand why people may or may not disagree. I just don't understand so much of the. I don't know. I just look at it as like people are caping up almost. Does that make sense? And they get so defensive when you like say things that kind of shatter their reality. And that's happening in the hobby. In the hobby, it happens in the macro things. Um, so I guess it's not like that crazy, but I don't know. Just basing it off the macro, like, are you that surprised that people are push back so much when you call out some of the things you do?
I mean, earlier on, I was really confused. I'm like, whoa, wait, I'm just speaking my mind. I don't have any advertise. I mean, you have, okay, AdSense, okay, through Google, but it has nothing to do with sports cards. And then I see, obvious corruption to the core. And then people are just what? Coming at me. I'm like, wait, I'm calling out bad behavior. And you're saying that, I shouldn't be calling out bad behavior. I mean, that gives the hobby a bad light, but then the media doesn't even cover the bad things. So it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, and I've noticed that where it almost seems like, I mean, I'm not a big national like guy. I'm not a big traveler across the country as far as shows, but I do a lot of like in my area shows. I'll go from anywhere to Ohio to Indiana, PA, and I've noticed it just seems like there's a theme I'm gathering either like at shows or even online that it seems like if you call out the fraud or if you attempt, I don't even want to say attempt to call, but if you even ask questions about potential fraud, there's more pushback on that person asking questions, even if there's merit. You know what I mean? If there's smoke and there's fire, and how many times have we've been burned now? We've seen $4 million Pokemon boxes, fraudulent. They've opened on camera. It's just, but I've noticed more pushback on the anti-establishment, anti-mainstream hobby narrative versus the actual fraud.
Yeah, I know. And we could talk. I mean, you don't need to call people out by name, but I think we were messaging each other. I think I was messaging you, and I saw what Cage Lawyer. He was coming after me. He's saying like, "Hey, look, this dude. He doesn't have receipts, and if you're trying to prove something, you need to have receipts." I'm like, this is a blog. I just share my thoughts, and I understand. I haven't done the deep diving. This is not my full time job, and if you said, hey, ask receipts in the real world, or I mean, if you're just saying, hey, I think this is going on, like all these high IQ guys, I've noticed this in my personal life. All these high IQ guys just like push back on me. I see the same thing over and over again. So I don't know. I mean, I've dealt with these guys over and over again. It's just like the real world. I don't know if you've seen the same thing as well.
Yeah, I don't know. As far as the specific person you're talking about calling you out, I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion,
Yeah, I agree with that.
and that's fine. Like, I, I actually think he's the type of person that if everybody sat down and had a beer, we'd all get along.
Yeah, I think most
You know,
people would be able to get along with.
absolutely. Like, I think, but at the same time, I also feel like he. I'm not saying he necessarily has to, but the hobby in a good light benefits him. You know what I mean? And a lot of these influencers, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything nefarious or anything bad. It's just the if the hobby's going well and if things are all in good standing, like a lot of these influencers are going to benefit. And I feel like I also feel like he plays. We talk. I think he plays a character as far as like a devil's advocate too,
Yeah.
which and that's that's good. That's actually really good. But I also feel like it's fair to say nothing against him or that platform, but they don't ask any hard questions. So it's like it's not your job, and I know they've said that before, and that's fair. But it's like, why are you coming after you, who's just asking questions? And it's like, dude, you don't ask any hard questions, and you invite a lot of the people that drama circulates around. So that's where I mean, he's entitled to his opinion, and that's fine. But to me, it's just like, nah, I don't, I don't know. I would
Yeah.
ask harder questions. I mean, if you really want receipts that bad, and you have the outreach to talk to some of these people that are involved in some of this stuff, like why wouldn't you ask any harder questions?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
Um,
nothing against them. It's an entertaining program. I watch occasionally. Andrew and I got in YouTube comment fights before. He's also him too. I honestly feel like if we all got together and actually sat down and had a beer, like we'd all shoot the shit and have a good time.
yeah, I think
But
most of
just
the
because
people
we
that have
disagree on certain things within the hobby, just like Cage's anti Nikola Jokic rhetoric, which is ridiculous. I mean, he just craps on Jokic, man. What did he ever do to Cage?
no idea. No idea. All right. Let's look at this comment. Patches says, Steve doesn't look like I imagined he would. Imagined a 45-ish dude in khakis with 6 of the same polo shirts. Okay. Oh, yeah. You follow him on IG?
Maybe about 12, 13 years.
Yeah, much younger than 45. Okay. Ryan says, "Hey, how's it going, man? And you should definitely come on. People don't like to admit when they're wrong." Exactly.
That's as true as it gets, man.
Yep, yep, for sure, for sure.
Humility is a tough pill to swallow. And that's like
Uh,
it's easy to regurgitate that pill because we're all human, you know?
yeah, exactly, exactly. All right. Patches O'Halloran again says it's like the reporter who wrote about the Andrew and McGuire's locker in 1998 was blackballed about it. Now the same who went after him are acting like they were always against PEDs. Yeah, that's a good sports analogy. And then, we could find many examples in the real world as well. And actually, let's look at a sports analogy. So, Trevor Bauer, okay, I think he's a weirdo. And, what he did with that girl was strange, but it appeared to be consensual. And I think he'd be in jail if it weren't consensual.
Yeah.
And there's just shady things about that chick. And now I don't know if you follow Trevor Bauer, but he always went after the commissioner Manfred. and he also said some crazy things here and there. But I think the MLB went after him because Bauer could be a threat to the MLB in general because he just calls it the way he sees it. So that's why I think they went hard after him about this alleged sexual assault, which he was exonerated about. So I don't know. I just think that the hobby and then other parts of society are just like this.
Well, if you're a threat to a narrative which is backed by the mainstream funding, which I mean, that just seems to be a common theme that if you start bucking the trend, they're going to come after you. You kind of put a target on yourself. I mean, look at you in the hobby. I mean, it's not the same comparison, but I mean, just you having a vlog and just saying your thoughts, you kind of put a target on your back because you're not following stream with everybody else. So
That's true.
that's kind of, I don't know enough about the Bauer situation. The stuff I've read, it's like I have read some stuff where it's, yeah, I agree with you. If it wasn't consensual, he'd be in jail.
Yeah,
Um, but at the same time, if he's speaking out against the establishment, especially the people he works for, I mean, you're putting a target on yourself.
for sure, for sure.
Whether it's, and that's the thing, whether it's true or not, if you speak out against the narrative, whether it's true or not, you're putting a target on yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that
I mean,
100%.
look at the box break stuff. I think somebody put it in the comments, but like everybody, everybody was like smelling fish. They're like, man, we smell fish. And then finally, Sports Card Radio came out, and there were receipts. So for, you know what I mean? Like, what was it? The Kaboom Crown Royal? Like,
Yeah, 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 that's what it
and
was.
this is where I admit I'm putting my tinfoil hat on. If we can find that with the Crown Royal Kaboom, I mean, what's to say this flawless? This other stuff isn't marked and skewed towards a certain breaker that may have influence from whatnot, which may have influence from whatever grader they send it to. I mean, I can't. I mean, you know, but my point is, there are a lot of conflict of interests in this hobby. And if you even like mention it or bring it, it's like you're putting a target on yourself, and you're like, listen, I'm just bringing up a fact. There can be a conflict of interest here. And if you even, you know, when you bring that stuff up, it's like, man, people like, they cape up.
Yeah,
They cape up quick. It's no, 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 no,
yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
no. Nat Turner has every right to blah 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 blah. Blah. It's like I gotta watch what I say, but it's
yeah, I know.
like man, you can't even like. I mean, it's an unregulated market. The hobby is, everybody talks about the community of the hobby, but you only want to hear certain people that agree with you, and that's where I get lost in the sauce sometimes, man. I'm too genuine for that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then, so this was my reasoning. Remember the backyard breaks, keep on getting hits. And then what I saw was, okay, all the guys in the establishment, you could say in the establishment of the hobby. This is what I observed. So I think it's Sports Card Nonsense. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sports Card Nonsense,
One of the dudes is funny because I is it the
it's a dude from Boston and then some guy that's a little larger.
bigger guy?
Not, yeah, bigger guy.
He
Yeah.
doesn't know much about sports cars. He's just kind of like comic relief. I mean, no disrespect to the guy. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen a couple of their videos. He is funny, but like
Yeah.
that's the dynamic. One guy's like deep in the hobby, the other guy's a little naive and like
Yeah.
funny.
One was an ex breaker, right?
Okay.
And then you have that, and you have also I think it was like Luca Nation, they're mainstream the hobby, I'd say. And then there was like Card Ladder. All these guys were saying like, I don't think anything fishy is going on. And then when I saw that and I saw some of the math going on, I'm like, wait, this doesn't add up. So I'm like, okay, something definitely is going on, right? Now I couldn't put the pieces together, like I said, I didn't get the tips about this. So that's how I came to a conclusion that, hey, look, something weird's going on. And I think it's just widespread throughout the hobby, in my opinion.
I've heard a couple things as far as like the backyard bros. I've heard that like the quantity, as far as the amount they break, like they're bound to hit this stuff. And then I've seen, I can't remember who dropped that like mathematical equation where it was like these are the odds for them. I can't remember. I'd like to give credit to who did that actual math, but I can't remember. But I did see it go viral where it was like, yo, these are the odds for them to hit all of these hits. It was up to like 6, 7, 8 cards. I can't remember. And this is where I kind of like look at it in my mind. Based off the quantity argument, I would agree. Like they're bound to hit one of ones. They're bound to hit a logo man. They're bound to hit, these case hits, a gold kaboom. I'm not saying like it's not possible, but the problem is, it's like, dude, they're hitting the best cards. Like they hit the triple logo man LeBron. They hit how many Cade Cunningham one of ones out of Prism, and then was it an NT? I can't remember this, but if you look it up and find the cards that we're talking about, I mean, we're not talking just a logo man of Drew Holiday. Like we're talking the best, the most, like some of the most coveted cards that are in the best products. So that's where it got me ringing. It's like I lean towards the mathematical equation that dude put out, because it's like I believe they'll hit logo mans and one of ones and Black Prism this. Like I think it can happen, but not the very best possible hits or of the rookie class and the best sets. That's where I go lean towards the mathematical equation where it's like these percentages this is astronomical. Like I'm going to start giving them cash just to buy lottery tickets for me. I mean, what are the chances? I mean, I don't know. But to me, as a guy who's like, my worldview, like
Right.
to me, it just screams. It's like something's up here, and it's like I don't have receipts. Sorry, Cage, I don't have receipts, but it's like, man, I'm not that gullible. There's no way that's happening that way with one set of breakers or one
Indeed.
company breaker. However, I don't know how many people they have breaking, but
Yeah, and they didn't even respond to Darren Revolve, so I found that weird. Like,
and you
why?
know
Why
what?
would?
Why would they?
Yeah.
Who's got the gun to their head? I mean, this is unregulated. I mean, unless like the government did something, but like the government's not going to step in and be like, we're going to investigate these boxes. I mean, I think right now, I think we got some bigger fish to fry as far as government responsibilities, because shit's hitting the fan. But you know, but I mean, to their credit, they came out and did that video at Sports Card Radio, like trying to like play it off. But you know what? To me, it's like you made that video for a reason. That got under your skin. Like,
It's funny. All right. Pat just says Backyard Bros went from no one's the biggest breaks in 8 months. That alone should raise concern as to how they had the cash flow to buy that much
can
product.
we stop right here? See, this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, asking that question right now in the hobby is taboo. Seriously, like that question alone, like just the fact that you're saying, hey, they went from 0 to 100 real quick, and they're pumping out these hits, and what they got, whatnot affiliations. I mean, they got who was the guy? Was it the Fanatics guy who was like vouching for them after that?
Luber was, but then now he doesn't work for them.
Right, right. But it just shows you like they're in the like somehow, I don't know how, but they're involved with the establishment somehow. So that like screams to me, it's like, yeah, that's something's fishy. I'm smelling something. Something's off here. And this question right here by Patches, if you even ask that, a lot of people in the mainstream, the content world are going to be like, oh, well, you just don't have receipts. You just, and it's like, man, can't we just look at this and say, this is awful fishy? And we're not bad people for even asking the question.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I've noticed in the hobby. That question will get you more flack than backyard breaks if they were getting loaded boxes. This question being asked for 6 months would be a bigger problem than we find out in 6 months if backyard breaks was happening to get loaded boxes.
Exactly. And then the thing
Wild
is,
to me.
wouldn't it be better if this type of action is done on YouTube and social media before it gets out to the mainstream media and to the public, because then the public will see like, hey, this is what we see in cards. Do we want to get involved in it? That's why I think it's better to, ask the tough questions here before, Darren Ravel writes about it, or, the mainstream media picks up
And,
on it. That's
and to
how I
pick
look at it.
and to kind of piggyback off something I said earlier, like that's why the tough questions don't get asked by the mainstream, the bigger influencers. And like, I understand they got sponsorships and they don't want to rock the boat too much. So I get that to a degree where it's like, hey, so that's why I say a lot of the mainstream gets so mad at the questions you ask because they're incentivized for the hobby to flourish. Like their platforms aren't made like yours. Like the way you've gone about this, like you're a free discussion. I'll talk pros, cons. You're not based off how the market flows. A lot of these people, I would assume, as long as the business is booming within the hobby, like yeah, their content, their stuff's going to get bigger and better, and that's all come to a halt. And I think that's another reason why you get a lot of hate. Is maybe there's a jealousy factor where it's like, man, no one even knew you in your content space a year and a half ago. No disrespect, but like now that the market's flipped and everybody's like, wow, Raul's actually making a lot of points, and a lot of the things he said a long time ago are coming true. Like I understand why people would say, hey, I'm going to switch lanes and maybe get off Jeff Wilson and start watching some other stuff. I mean, I think that's a natural. I mean, the marketplace. Everybody liked the marketplace when it was going their way. Well, the marketplace changes and things change. So now the narrative and the entire, the whole scheme of the sports cards, it's not investment anymore. So those people, like, they don't have a say so now, and they're probably upset, jealous to a degree.
That's true. That's true. I think some content creators are also like peeved, like, hey, like they have, some of them have their hands tied behind their backs because they have sponsorships or they want sponsorships. And then, me, I just speak freely. Like, I don't
Mhm.
care. I had at times 30 people watch my videos, 30 people or 3,000, it's going to be the same type of content, me speaking my mind.
That's where I give you credit too. It's like I think I said it before when we talked. It's the consistency. Like, are you consistent with your message? And I mean, dude, you were talking about this when Top Shop was the thing. So I mean, I can't, I understand where you're coming from. Is we think we think a lot alike. So when we see certain things, we pretty much ask a lot of the same questions.
Yeah. I just ask questions. So, I guess it's a crime to ask questions in America today, right?
Called Thought Police, brother. 1984. George Orwell talked about it.
Indeed.
Go read
Indeed.
that book. If you haven't done it, start your new year. Read, get your steps in. We were watching content, man. Do sit ups. We're about health and fitness this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I got to learn from you. I mean, you're in pretty good shape. So I think that's my New Year's
Oh no,
resolution.
I was talking about I was
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
stuff I
yeah.
shared
I
with
know,
you.
I know the video you sent me. I know the video you
Yeah,
sent
I'm
me,
not
but
out here instructing anybody. I do my push-ups, but yeah, don't. You're not gonna
gotta
catch
do
me.
those sit-ups, right? Like rod
Yeah.
cards. All
Um,
right.
but that just tells you people. This another thing I think that's going on is I think people like. I was who did I say this to? I think I was talking to my bro. Maybe it was a buddy. But like hobby fame has become a thing. And that's where I feel like the content space and some of the influencer space, it's like I'm not saying their intentions are bad, but it's like, do you just want to be hobby famous sometimes? That's where I just have questions, and it's like, is this the type of person I should be listening to? I mean, obviously, if you're in this hobby, you should know like don't listen to any one person or don't follow one trend. But there's a lot of young guys in this hobby, a lot of young men. There's a lot of young people in this hobby of both genders. I got to watch myself. But like, if you're a young person looking up to some people that are, I don't know how healthy that is. I don't know if that's the best advice. But you got to live and learn too. There's accountability.
Indeed, indeed. So Lee says to me, AIH does most of the negative stuff on speculation or maybe happened or it's just a rumor. I prefer real facts. Let me know what really happened, but what might have happened, just me. So, I mean, I think it's also like some
How
people.
how are you
Yeah.
going to get these receipts? That's my question. Like, I hate to ask or answer a question with a question, but like, how do you go about getting these receipts in this unregulated market where everybody's putting their content online? How else are you gonna get those receipts other than just looking at the behavior patterns, looking at some? I mean, if if there weren't massive frauds that have been happening, I mean, would it would just it's going to raise more questions. It's going to have more people looking like skeptically on the hobby and a lot of the things that are going on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've gotten, quote unquote receipts from an ind like is a content creator, right? I'm gonna keep this person's name quiet, but I was sent information where there's money. I sent it to you as well. There's potential money laundering going on through one of the big auction houses. One of the employees has connections to really shady people, and they're using one of those people to basically alter these cards, trim these cards, send it to this auction house, or get it graded. They get it graded, send it to the auction house. The auction house looks away, doesn't really know what's going on. So, I mean, like, I get stuff sent to me all the time. I don't post it online because, it's not my original source, and I'll let the original source, if they want to cover it, they're more than happy to. But, there's a lot of quote unquote whistleblowers that, they're out there. So that's the other thing I want to mention. There's a lot of shady stuff. I've been sent a lot of information. Some of it, I've shared, some of it I don't.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. All right. Let's see another comment here. I just don't like the negative YouTube sports car channels and actually ever show stuff. I don't know. I don't know what that is in the hobby besides criticize people who are actually pulling the major hits and spreading the hobby. How would you respond to
Nobody's
that?
I mean, nobody's mad at people getting major hits. It's just, why is it the same person? Why is it the same breaker group?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not criticizing, it's asking a question. What and why is it negative to ask a question? This is the mindset I don't understand.
Yeah,
You just believe
exactly.
everything? You just believe everything?
Yeah, and
Probably got 17 boosters. Oh, whoa.
speaking
Believe
of
it,
boosters,
believe everything.
so I was on a live stream with Filmington on Monday, right?
Mhm.
And we saw the tragedy happen of Hamlin. Actually, it's good news that, it seems that he has neurological I mean,
Prayers up,
functions, he
prayers
can
up.
talk. Yeah, and that's great news. But, you can't ask questions these days unless you're called a nut. And I didn't want to say this at the time because I think it wasn't appropriate to, but, I think Jason Whitlock was even talking about it. I don't know if you've seen his videos. Like,
Mhm.
hey, like, we've never seen this type of stuff in NFL before, right? Someone collapsing like this.
Wow.
And, you have to ask, is it a potentially an adverse reaction of the jab, right? This is a taboo subject that you can't get into.
No.
And
That's
yeah,
that's that's a tragedy,
yeah,
especially in this country. And this is my problem. Like, first, seriously, prayers up for the young man. That's
yeah,
the first
exactly.
and foremost. God bless him and his family. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Um, and I don't think it's unfair to ask questions given everything that we've gone through the last 2 years. Where I know with my workplace and people I know's work, but like HIPAA has never played a factor with COVID for some reason. And jab status for some reason HIPAA doesn't play a fact. I mean, everybody's intrusive. They ask you your health stuff, and if you had it, you remember the little banners on your Facebook you put on there,
Yeah.
jab, jab, jab. Everybody put their status up there, and it's like, are you ashamed to admit it in this case? And why is it unfair to ask this person in this case? But for the last 2 years, everybody asked anybody. I mean, look what they did to Kyrie based off the knowledge of his status. So
And
it's like
Aaron Rodgers.
if and this is what I'd say, and people really need to get out of their shell and look into some of this stuff. Like, look at all the soccer players that have been dropping.
In
Like,
Europe.
look at
In
all
Europe.
these young people like under 50 who are dying from heart issues and heart attacks. And like all these numbers have turned up. So it's like, what's the catalyst to the equation that could potentially, what's something that mass people were promoted to do? I mean, I just think it's a fair question to ask, and no disrespect to that young man at all. It has nothing to do with that. This is a little bit separate. I mean, I hope I hope it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope um, that guy gets back to a condition where he could just live a normal life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's the most important part. Even though we're having this important discussion, which obviously needs to be had, but you know, the other thing about this conversation, curator was on a live stream, and then he was talking about, hey, look, soccer players are getting paid huge amount of money, and then he said that, hey, look at that Hamlin guy that collapsed. I think, hey, Steve, you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you there? I may have lost you.
Hey, you there? You there?
Yeah,
Guys,
my
can you
bad.
see us?
I don't know if I froze
Let's
up.
see this over here. Hold on. Let me go on my phone.
Was that on my end by chance? It looks like my internet's and everything's good. Every once in a while, I'll get like thrown off.
Hey, man, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened with my computer. So what I would say is, curator.
I was gonna just say you're choppy on my end.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So, curator did a live stream where he's saying that, hey, look, the soccer players, they get paid a lot more money. Maybe Americans should go into that. And oh yeah, did you see that football player that collapsed? Maybe it's a good reason for people to play soccer instead of football because that guy collapsed. I'm thinking like, whoa, wait, have you seen the guys that collapsed in Europe? Like, I don't know.
He's kind of 2 for 2 for making out of bounds soccer statements. Like, he should just
Yeah.
leave soccer alone. And that's where I mean. Like, no offense to him, no offense, no offense
Yeah.
to him, but like, how can you make a statement like that, not knowing that all these soccer players, like, they've been having the same like collapsing issue with their athletes, just like that Hamlin suffered from. Now, I don't, the Hamlin one, there was a tackle involved, but like, that's not a like, guys don't collapse like that in the NFL. I've been watching for a long time. Like, have people died playing the NFL, but I can't remember the one comparison. Jason Whitlock even talked about it, and they found out he had blood clots.
In the
And
1970s, right? That one dude
yeah,
collapsed. Okay, so that seemed legitimate. It was a tragedy, right?
right.
But it was like one death, right? In
But
the
to be
NFL.
honest, I think they found out that he had blood clots, so that probably was a contributor over time, maybe why he did end up having a fatal injury playing football. But with this Hamlin kid, I'm not sure. I mean, you just don't see 24-year-old dudes collapse like that. And we see some pretty brutal collisions in football over the years, and it's like that's just not a standard thing. I don't know. It looked different to me. Obviously, the entire sentiment of this, like what those players even had to witness, like all of this was different.
No.
I mean, he had to be. I don't even know if the story they put out as far as they resuscitated him twice, I think, and I don't even know if that was accurate. But I mean, had to bring him back twice. God bless them EMT in Cincinnati too. I mean, the most underpaid people in the building did the most important job on
Oh
that
yeah,
field.
for sure, for sure. What do you think of that coin toss situation for determining playoff games? Did you see that?
No, explain this to me. Somebody sent me a. Honestly, I was in church earlier when they sent it to me, so I ignored it and I kind of forgot to go back and look at it. But I heard they said something about a coin
So
toss.
yeah, I think something weird. If the Ravens are the Ravens playing Cincinnati tomorrow, is that it? I don't
Mm,
remember.
I know Pittsburgh plays Cleveland, so if, it might be a divisional game too because
Okay, yeah, I think it's something like that. So if the Ravens win, there's going to be some sort of coin toss to determine who's going to host the game. From my memory, someone could comment down below. I think that's what it is. And if it goes to the AFC Championship game with the Bills and the Bengals, and maybe the Chiefs, then it's going to be maybe at a neutral site. I'm thinking like, what? That's just weird. Why not just cancel the Pro Bowl or move it back a week? Why can't they do that? Is it just, it's going to screw up the advertisers?
I
Like,
was just gonna say I hate to just be that guy and go right to it, but we know this probably has to do with money. So, like you said, if it's advertisement, I don't know. I don't know, but I would imagine it has to do with money. But if you think about it, there was a great documentary called Friday Night Lights where they did a coin flip for playoffs and they made a movie of it. And it seems like the NFL is just going to do that. Billy Bob Thornton is probably going to flip the coin for the NFL. I'll take it. I bet you he does it. I don't know. It almost seems like, what do you do in a situation like this? I mean, it's easy for me to just hate on the idea, but what do
mm,
you do in a situation like this?
I
Because
would probably cancel the Pro Bowl game.
I would too, because it's honestly there's no point in playing it, but
Exactly.
because it's a
And
joke
yeah,
anyway.
and then it may have been the NFL's policies that created this problem for Hamlin. So I'm like,
Dude, I maybe that's why they haven't said anything
yeah,
about
they're
the
careful.
status.
And I think they have to sign waivers or something like
What is it?
that.
Myocarditis? I can't myocarditis or whatever
Yeah, that's one of the symptoms
symptoms
someone can get
supposedly.
from it. It's rare, but that's what I've heard.
Is it
And that
rare?
is it I don't know
Is
at
it
this
rare
point.
with these things, man? Is
Yeah,
it?
I'm like,
We'll never know. Well,
suddenly,
the NIH, the person who was supposed to overlook Fauci was his wife. Talk about conflict of interest. We'll never know these receipts. People who want receipts will never get the real receipts.
oh yeah, we're gonna get the real receipts when we're like what 80 or 90 years old, or we're dead.
We're not even going to make it to 80 or 90. Some of these people with this, I mean, maybe. I hate to be full full hat, but it's like people are dropping under 50 right now.
Yeah, I saw this MMA fighter. She was 18, and then she just like suddenly no longer here with us. And like, what? Like all these teenagers, I'm like, whoa, what? This is weird. This is like, and like athletes too. I mean, I get it. It happened a little bit here, a little bit there. I get it, right? Always unfortunate situation, but now I'm seeing like
And
all the time.
this
This
is
is like bizarre. And no one wants to talk about it. I get it. I'm not sponsored here, so I could say whatever I want. So that I think that's why I have you on, is because you're not scared of speaking your mind, and I know you're not scared. And I
no.
know if I brought some of the people that I bring on, I know they're like, oh crap, he asked me this question.
You'd almost scare them off some of the stuff.
Yeah, I know. I know some people
And
won't come on this
but you know
program.
what? In this cancel culture world, man, and if they have sponsors, I'm not.
I
I
get
can
it.
understand. I get it.
I
You
get it.
can't
Yeah.
be. You can't talk about anything real anymore. That's and the minute you do, it's hate speech. It's
Yeah.
thought
Like
police time.
And then I remember, when I started going after Luber, I saw him. The thing is that when he was with Zero Cool, I think it was him or someone at Zero Cool mandated that his admin or secretary have the jab. And I'm like, okay, I don't trust this guy.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, it's fair game for me, to go after him. That's when people say, like, how could you say that about Josh Luber? I really didn't discuss it, but that was actually the reasoning behind it. That's when I knew, like, okay, this guy, believes the mainstream propaganda.
I just, it's I can't, I don't, so
Yeah.
when I hear stuff like that, I'm immediately turned off. Now, I respect everybody in their, their position and however you think, you have hey, God gave us all free will. You can think and do how you want,
Right.
but when you tell me that my thoughts are causing you harm or the things I question, like that's on you, dude. Like I don't have time for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not
Exactly.
switching up because you happen to be soft. That's not my problem. Go be
Yeah.
soft and cry to your circle of friends. Maybe they'll be your shoulder to cry on. I grew up different, so I'm not, I'm not gonna sell the truth short, to appease somebody's feelings.
Yeah, exactly. Like we grew up, I would say, in differently. The people we hung out were like much different people, but we see eye to eye, which I find quite interesting. I mean, you are on many sports teams. You said in high school. I, the people that I usually go after is, these high IQ, naive people. A lot of these guys, they want the proof and all that stuff, right? And I'm still surprised, like, you grew up in a small town. I grew up in basically the United Nations of, the town that I lived in, Skokie, Illinois, it's like the United Nations, right? Every race, group, creed that you can think of. And somehow I'm like, hey, these guys are corrupt. These guys are full of crap. I don't trust you guys. So I just find that interesting.
For me, it's about following the money. If you can follow the money and you can see where it's funneling to, and what it's producing, it's olive branches. To me, that's how I see it. But I don't know. Growing up the way I did, it's a lot of things that you know we stood for as a family, and as things that we kind of look like we didn't go by what everybody said. We had our beliefs, and that's how it was. It didn't matter what happened outside in the macro. Like this is ours. This is our community. This is our household. This is our family. This is it. This is how it is. This is how it goes. And if somebody outside of that tries to enter that realm or break into that realm, and in this instance, we're talking in the form of big government, especially with the, but
Yeah.
your family has to stay strong and stuff like that. I mean, and you don't believe outsiders all the time, if it's not, I always say something and it's egotistical, but I truly mean it. Like in mine, I call it, it's my block. It's mine now. So it's up for me to kind of like deal with stuff and problems. If a neighbor's got a problem, if somebody across the street has a problem or whatever, I want to be the household. People can knock on the door and say, he's going to help me. He's going to do what's best for everybody in the best situation, and I can trust him for it. Like too many outsiders, too many big entities with too much money to throw at people to get them to sing a song, sing a narrative, and comply. And I can't remember what is the quote. Man will be willing to sacrifice freedom and liberty for safety and comfort. And I think we are in that time, big time.
For sure. For sure. Skippy says, I really respect you guys are willing to talk about this. Well, appreciated. This
Yeah.
is why I have Steve on, because he's one of the few people that will honestly talk about this. Elegant Elliot. Rahul, full disclosure, did you get jabbed? Hell no. Same thing with Steve.
No, I get that shit.
Yeah.
I saw a video where Ice Cube
Yeah, he
Come out and
refused
said,
it.
he said, "I
Yeah,
turned $9 million because those motherfuckers try to get me to take that jab." He said,
yeah,
"Fuck that
exactly.
jab." And I tell you what, I'm here for the ice cube. Fuck that jab.
Yeah, I think we have a Ice
And fuck
Cube.
them motherfuckers for trying to get us all to take it.
Yep, yep,
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
yeah. I think we have a Ice Cube Impala Funko Pop. That looks really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, it's really
I'm
nice.
not a Funko Pop guy, but I would take a cube. I
Yeah.
would take a cube.
Let's see. Andrew Tate. Let's maybe talk about Andrew Tate. I think we could discuss this. Andrew Tate talked about the incident with the American girl who called the cops of him months before his arrest. People didn't like what he says and they went after him. Even a not guilty hurts him. So, the thing
Oh,
about
yeah.
Tate, I I've heard multiple things. So both of us, on occasion listen to Owen Benjamin, right?
Mhm.
And Owen Benjamin, if people think we're on the fringe, some of the things he
Ooh.
says like make you think like, what did he just
Ooh,
say that?
Owen's deep, bro.
Yeah,
He's
Owen's deep. He
deep.
just says stuff.
He
Sometimes we
actually
get a
makes
reaction.
Alex Jones seem almost shallow water sometimes.
I know, like Alex Jones seems a normie. Like, remember that Kanye West Alex Jones interview?
Oh,
Like,
God.
Alex Jones seems sane. I'm like,
Yo,
wait, this is
that's
like, wait,
wild. That's wild. When you go on the Alex Jones show and you make him look like the normal, like, that's
yeah, that's,
come on, yay. Come on.
yeah. Like a buddy
Well, I'm
text
all
me.
for free speech though, man. Like, and I'll be honest, like I don't know what's up with Ye, but the man should have the right to say as he pleases. Now,
Yeah,
do we all have to agree with it? Absolutely not. But everybody should have a voice. And I feel like Ye's probably got some mental stuff going on. I
right.
mean, probably. And
They
like
got a
the
divorce,
man
right?
feels like he's been silenced for so long, and he does have some pretty crazy things to talk about. Like that one trainer from Canada that was involved with the government.
Yeah. He
It
went
was
on
like,
TinFoil.
we're gonna make you look crazy. It sounded like the Dave Chappelle story that Cat Williams be telling. It's like we're gonna make you look crazy. I don't know. See, like that's all that weird stuff we put. I mean, our deep tinfoil hats on, but it's like we don't know what's really going on.
Going on,
We just see at
like,
the surface, like they say, like the Titanic going at the iceberg. Like you only see the top. You don't see what's underneath, and like that's what we just see what's at the top surface in eyesight. We don't know what's going on under the table.
right. Like,
In the depth.
apparently, like, we have to be careful on YouTube, but creepy lady Maxwell's partner in crime
Yeah,
allegedly killed himself in jail, right?
yeah, dude.
And so
And
that
all
was,
the videotapes went out
yeah,
on that floor. Like, come
yeah. Come on,
come
come
on. And
on.
you know what? I called that shot. If if my pap was anywhere, he's he's not here. He's at his own place, thank God. I love him. But if my grandfather was here, I called that shot like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before it happened. We were talking about it. They did something on the news he was watching, and he was, they should do this. Da, 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 da. And I said, he ain't making it to trial. He, what do you mean? I says, he's gonna die in jail, 100%, 100%. Now I study a lot of mafia history, and that's like a lot of criminal enterprise. How does a criminal enterprise work? Well, when the canary gets caught, you kill the canary. Like that's just how it goes. So like when I saw that he got arrested and all the higher ties that we'll never find out that's in that black book, but like it was like writing on the wall. I was like, oh, this dude's gonna get got real fast.
Yeah, yeah. It was bound to
But
happen.
we don't have receipts. The
Yeah, we.
cameras went out. The guards were asleep. We don't have receipts. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Did you see about that evidence plate thing in New York that burned down? There was like a big facility in New York that caught fire, and it had all this federal evidence in it. I wonder what black book was in that fire.
Are you talking about
Wonder,
20 years ago?
wonder which laptops may have been in that fire. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? But there's no receipts. That was an honest to goodness fire. It was honest to goodness. It just happened to catch a flame,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going too deep. I'll shut up.
I think I know what you're talking about here. People think we're crazy if we, you
Well, I'm
know.
not gonna elaborate on that.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as that fire in New York, that evidence fire, whatever, somebody can look it up. Maybe, I swear it was New York. But
Yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of evidence of a lot of high profile cases. I guarantee, just caught on
just
fire.
yeah, just yeah, on
They're
fire.
gone, hey, gone.
So there's this one. I don't know if you remember this. It's like 2008, 2007. This madam lady that did activities with males, and it was a paid service for her. She had a list of all these congressmen, and she was going to go public. And then what ended up happening was she either died by suicide or someone killed her. Yeah,
I bet you I know whose name was on that.
yeah,
Begins with
yeah.
a C, rhymes with Linton. I mean, who knows 50 some people that have committed suicide? Who
Yeah,
knows 50 some people that committed suicide? That's insane. That's insane.
yeah.
I'd say this: Backyard Breaks has a better chance of hitting all them case hits in the Black Prism 101s than anybody knowing 50 some people that commit suicide that happen to all know dirt. That's the thing. It's not the people they know that don't know. It's the people they know that don't that know dirt. Just end up
Yeah,
not hanging themselves. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Let's look at some of the comments here. Owen makes Alex Jones like the normal uncle on Thanksgiving.
He's
Yeah.
right, dude. He is
Yeah.
right. He's right.
Oh man. Oh man. Like do you believe these sales on these auction houses? Like some of
Hell
these have
no. Hell no. I don't. Or if they are being sold, it's people in the know-how in the circle exchanging, and it's somehow money laundering. Something I don't believe it. I don't
yeah,
believe it.
like I'm
You're
just
gonna tell
looking
me
at
right now people are spending over 100K on cards on some of these big sales, even say 35 to 50K. I honestly don't believe it. I really don't. And you know
right.
why? Because some of the people who are involved with these auction houses have passed to them, which there are receipts, which makes me to believe future behaviors based off past actions. Like, yeah, I have questions, lots of them. I
Yeah.
don't have any receipt. I don't have any receipts on me, but I got questions.
Yeah.
I got a thinking brain. I can ask questions. So no,
Yeah.
I don't believe them, and I don't care who says I'm bad for the hobby and negative, and I don't believe them.
Yeah.
I don't believe them because of the dumb shit they did 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So I should just believe them now because the hobby had a boom cycle pumped with Fed money, make pretend money. I'm supposed to believe them now.
Yeah.
The biggest wealth transfer time. I'm just supposed to believe them then that they didn't have a nefarious agenda at all whatsoever. I mean,
Oh
the
yeah.
farther we get away from this boom cycle, it was all bullshit.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, so there's that Mastro case, right? And I'm gonna look at the legal documents probably in the next few days just to, review it. But if they were doing this back then,
The
over a
legal
decade ago,
I
huh?
don't mean the legal documents of what? I missed that part.
The Mastro
Oh,
shill
the
bidding case.
Mastra. Okay.
Yeah. So some big wigs were named in this court document case, right? And now once again, just because their name doesn't mean, they did the hanky panky, but
Right.
something did seem strange, right? And I'm just thinking out loud that okay, if they were doing this, and also I think if you remember that sports card radio interview that I did live, the live stream.
Mhm.
So Ron saying that, hey, look, Mastro deleted or got rid of a lot of the shield bidding. So just imagine, we know that there are people in the hobby right now that are named in that. Just
Mhm.
imagine how much hanky panky went down.
I mean, I it would have been money laundering then. So what makes me think that there's not the potential for money laundering now? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the shill bit. Like I was telling, like full full transparency. I'm a KD collector. I like KD. It's not a mystery. So like I follow a lot of the KD sales. I look at certain auction houses. Certain ones I go on, and I look for KD cards. And like I'm telling you, I'm seeing the same one circulated through the same auction houses, and it's like I don't believe these sales. They're getting sold 2, 3 times within a month and a half span. It's like I don't think they're ever getting paid for. So I don't even know what the true value is on these cards that I'm looking at. So it's like I don't even know what to bid on. I just keep watching the circus. And it's like maybe one time when these one of these cards go to like a complete dirt price where it's like, yeah, I'm comfortable paying that. But I'm watching the same like KD Patch Flawless on the same 2, 3 auction sites. It's like these aren't getting paid for. And who's bidding? Because at one point I would be bidding on them. So who was out? Who was bidding with me when I decided to luckily back off and the bids kept going up?
No
That's why I
idea.
asked you the other day. I was like, man, who's allowed to bid on their own auctions?
So shill bidding is technically legal in, I think, a few states. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's maybe Texas, I think in Florida. So you could shill bid all you want and you won't go to jail at all.
It's chilly down there.
Yeah. So if you're going to be a shill bidder, do it there. I mean, it is against eBay's policies, but I don't think it's against Heritage's policies. So you could, I think you could shill bid all you want on Heritage auctions. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I think.
Yeah, I'm just noticing that the auction sites I get on, the same few cards keep popping up, and I'll put it on my watch list, and like it's like it sells, but then in a week it's back up. It's like these aren't getting paid for. So is it the seller just keeping the price to maintain the price? I
That's
don't
what
know.
I thought.
That's what I think too. I had a discussion with somebody about the other day. He was asking me questions, and respectfully, it's like, do you not think this is possible? Like, you don't think that somebody who wants to make a buck would do something like that? Like, I mean, how? I don't know.
Right. And the thing is that,
It's kind of wild.
like, I remember doing videos on shill bidding. This is when I noticed like people started coming after me. I'm like, hey, this is being shill bid. Like, this is messed up, right? Everyone was quiet. And then some people were mocking me. I'm like, what? I mean, we should not bring awareness to this problem. And then later on, everyone's talking about shill bidding now. Now it's like, oh, shill bidding's bad. I don't know. Like I've seen a lot of people that were in the mainstream of the hobby. Now they're calling out the nonsense. Now everything's down. Now I'm like, wait, have we hit the bottom?
I agree. That's why, dude. I don't like him, but I'm making trades for LeBron cards. Right,
Right.
full disclosure. I don't like LeBron. I don't know what I'm gonna do with him, but like I'm active in the hobby, and I am a true collector. But like, if I can pick up LeBron cards as they're dropping right now and trade out stuff that I'm really not, I've had for a while or have graded. Honestly, that's what I've been doing is trading mostly because I don't believe I'm not putting much cash capital behind some of these cards right now because I know if I do that within 2 weeks, the next sale of that card, I'm gonna be at a loss. So I'd rather trade right now.
Right. Right.
I mean, think about it. Like, does the hobby need more money pumped into it right now? After everything we've went through, it probably seems best. It's like a lot of people who've been involved, like, take a break.
I guess we have to watch how we do content because some people are going to be like, "Oh, this is bad for the hobby. This content, it's not going to drive in the
Well,
billionaires and
I
the
mean,
millionaires." I'm like, "Wait, I
it's
don't
his
work in the
channel,
industry."
but I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I'll
It's
say what
his
I
channel.
want.
I don't want to
They can't control me. You know what I find interesting is that you have I'll say it out loud. So like there's a huge, in my opinion, conflict of interest with Collectors Universe, like I said, right? They own Card Ladder, they own WADA, they own Golden.
Mhm.
They're buddies with card porn, who allegedly is the watchdog, but then they give them a free pass. And then on top of it, Card Ladder is buddies with a bunch of these YouTubers where he gives them free, or they get free subscriptions. And
They're almost incentivized not to talk against your butt. I mean,
yeah. So and then now they're like, wait, you have a problem with content creators, even though you give free subscriptions to your Card Ladder app, and now they're not going to talk bad about Collector's Universe.
sounds like payoffs, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like payoffs keep your mouth shut?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that's like exactly what's happening, but through friendships, if these are genuine friendship, it sounds more like, hey, we'll give you this, you can have this. There's the conflict of interest. But you can't even talk about potential conflict. Like, who did you? I forget his name. You just had him on this week.
Filmington.
Like he like people come up or somebody who admits like, hey, this is what's going on, and they're transparent. Like, hey, I get this from so and so. Like, I respect that. Like the
Yeah,
fact
I
that
do
he's
too.
like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to talk about certain things because I just don't. Yeah, I respect that.
I respect Filmington. I respect Dustin for being upfront. Hey, I get paid by XYZ,
Right.
and I'll
Well,
still talk about
yeah.
other companies,
So then at least
whatever I
us,
want.
the
I
consumer,
respect that.
yeah, the consumer at least will understand. It's like, I get why he's not addressing this, or I guess why he's approaching this in a certain way. Like, I
Yeah.
can understand that, but there's got to be that transparency.
Disclosure. Filmington said, I think it's important to disclose, who you're in business with, or who you get, paid sponsors or whatever, right? I respect that, right? I
Mhm.
may not agree with Filmington or Dustin all the time, but I do respect it. So
Right.
some people, it's just ridiculous. They can't even understand there's a conflict of interest with what they do.
Where's the receipt? Where's the receipt? I want a receipt. I want a date, a time. I want a
Yeah.
receipt.
Oh man, I think Charles is hilarious. You're gonna get a kick out of this. I recommend everyone get the jab and booster. Be safe, guys. This is a very bad virus.
It is bad. Fauci
and,
told me.
and then he says,
Fauci told me, and his wife oversaw it. That's how much I believe it.
also be sure to wear mask 99% of the time. To be safest, always wear a mask outside and in your home.
My
Did you?
my favorite are the masked drivers.
I saw articles where they recommended when a guy and a girl were, doing their thing, that they should wear masks.
During Hanky Panky?
Yeah, during Hanky Panky, the real Hanky Panky. I saw articles like that.
I understand strapping up, but not the face. That's wild, man. These medical experts. Hold up. You're changing body fluids, but you're worried about
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
it make sense. What? I bet you they were on CNN. Want to bet?
I think that
Was
who's
it
that
Gupta?
comedian on
Dr.
HBO?
Gupta?
Bill Maher.
He's a douche too.
Yeah,
Even though I'll
he
say
is.
this, he's
He's
balanced
okay,
out some. He's balanced out some,
right?
but he's still a douchebag.
But he's saying like, wait, you guys don't like the rubber, but you want to wear masks.
Here's
I
the
think
thing.
he said something like that.
Here's the thing. This is a perfect thing. Honestly respect my pap. He said it to me. He says, you go outside in the cold with that mask on, you see your breath going right through that mask anyway. He's like, do you not think that happens in summertime? You can see it in the winter. You're breathing right through your mask. All that, like, and if it is an airborne pathogen virus, what's it stopping? That's like putting up a gated fence to stop the gnats from getting in. Like, how much sense does that make? It's like taking stupid pills. I don't know. And I don't want to, like, it's just been too long. And I guess it's a lot of bent up frustration because for 2 years I had to hear, get this, you're going to kill your grandmama. You're a bad person. You can't pass it on if you get the vaccine. You can't contract it if you get that. We were told a bunch of bullshit. So it's like, wow, yeah, I think the hobby could be telling me a bunch of bullshit too.
Oh yeah, some of these influencers for sure.
Circle all this craziness back to the hobby.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let's look at this. Jim Hansen says shield baiting could be tempting when you see a card you own go for half its value. However, it's not ethical, if not legal karma. So yeah, it's legal in some states, it's legal on some auctions, and then in some states it's illegal, and then also on some auctions you can't do it. So it's a little bit of everything.
There's a lot of things that are tempting, you just don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Maybe the last thing that we want to get into is like going back to the sales. So a Michael Jordan, high end card, the highest it's ever allegedly been is what, $700,000, right?
Say that one more time. I got lost
So,
reading something.
so like a high end Michael Jordan card, right? It
Mhm.
probably went for what, $700,000, right?
Yeah.
So, assuming that sale was real, we have Shine buying up a scarce card. Sure, it looks good. He's rebuying that Luca card for $3 million on PWCC.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking out loud, why? Okay, you could do whatever you want with your money. That's fair game if you're rich.
Hmm.
Why would you pay over $3 million for a Luca card for a guy that has not won a championship game? Yes, he's talented. Yes, he's phenomenal. Yes, he's great for the game domestically and internationally. But Michael Jordan, 6 championship, the GOAT, his card is less than $1 million. And the star card is what? Couple $100,000 high end. Like what?
You know what?
Like this
If
doesn't
you're
make any
watching
sense.
Goldberg, I'm gonna give you. Even though we had our Facebook or not Facebook shit,
YouTube.
YouTube comment spat. He made an excellent point on something I was watching, one of his episodes. He said, we're going to go, and I know you're using the Jordan as an example, but he used the LeBron Exquisite rookie patch auto and
Yeah.
how it's worth what it is, and it's actually game used. Like that's what makes Upper Deck Exquisite what it was.
Yeah.
Are we going to value a Luca NT patch auto where the jersey wasn't game worn, it wasn't even his number, it's like number 88, the
Yeah.
jersey they used, and his mama may have signed it. What is that going to appraise like a LeBron exquisite RPA? And I give credit to Goldberg because he asked that question. And you know what? That like struck a chord with me. And I was like, damn, that's a good point. Because first off, Luka's not going to win 6 titles. So it's not going to maintain from a metric standpoint. Like he's not going to be Jordan. He's phenomenal, but he's not going to be Jordan. Like he's not going to win 6 unblemished. It's just, if it does happen, God bless him. Cause like it's just the odds of it happening. It's like the backyard break bros. But anyway, if Luka can't even measure up to Jordan from a metric standpoint, or LeBron from a metric standpoint as far as championships, MVPs, like the idea that his rookie patch auto isn't even game worn, and there's the skepticism of his mama may have signed it. Like, how much of an like if this was a piece of art for long-term appraisal, I wouldn't be buying that piece of art. And the way he said that on that show with on his show, it made me think. I was like, damn, that's a damn good point. So I don't know, but I agree. Somebody paying this much for a Luka, this is what makes me feel like I don't even think the idea is that you do think he's going to be like Jordan. Like even take the patch and the Mama Auto away from it. Like, how can somebody be worth that much when he hasn't done 1% of what Jordan's done? He hasn't even had an MVP yet.
He
It's just
hasn't done what LeBron has done.
exactly. Like it's insanity. And I like Luka. I think he's a phenomenal player. I was buying these cards up. I traded out and got rid of a lot of them for stuff, for Kevin Durant's. But but from like a long-term investment, I think he's worthwhile. But the problem is with him is he was right at that boom where his prices were so high so early. What do you do with him? Do you sell out? Do you take those huge losses? I mean, do you wait for maybe he wins a couple titles if it happens? And that's the thing, like the trajectory of the Dallas Mavericks, like Luka's phenomenal, but that team, as far as a title contender, he's going to either have to leave Dallas or I don't know. But yeah, I think that's crazy. But we've gone through that also. I was saying this with a group of buddies of mine who I'm real close with in the hobby. We were in a thread together, and I said, the fact that I can buy a Peyton Manning on card auto for like a quarter of the price for a Trey Lance or a Zach Wilson at the time or a Justin Fields, that's criminal. That's insanity to me. And I'm talking like on card playing days, Peyton Manning, not this new crap they pump out. They have these guys just sign stuff to sign. I'm talking like '06 SP on card, like a nice, nice set, good year, playing year. The fact that I can buy I can buy him at like a quarter of the price of Trevor Lawrence, make it make sense to me. And a couple of my buddies were like, well, you see, you got to understand it's different now. And I was like, I'm pushing back. I don't see it. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Let's take a look at this comment. Shine states that the Luca logo man will be like high-end art in 15, 20 years.
But that's why I said what I said. Like, dude, I again, credit to Goldberg for for provoking the thought, because it's not my original thought.
Yeah.
But it stuck with me so hard. And he was like, yo, LeBron's exquisite rookie patch auto was actually game worn. It's on card auto. Like it's the real deal. Luka's isn't even the right jersey they picked out of the team shop. It's a number 88. So like, is that a piece of art that you want to like? At least the LeBron has personal, like it's personal. It's his game worn jersey. It makes sense why it's worth what it is. The scarcity, so on and so forth. Luka, odds are he didn't even put that jersey on, and he potentially didn't even sign that card. That is way too much of a risk. That is way now. If you want to do that for like a Devonte Graham rookie patch auto and make that gamble on like a guy that might emerge, but to do it with a Luka, I mean, if you got that FU money like him, I guess it's different. But if that's not a good precedent for what the hobby should do. For that individual, that might be worth it for him. That's a big gamble. But like, if the idea is now people are going to be like, oh, just like Gary V, that guy did that, so now I'm gonna do it. It's like if we can stay away from that, let this dude take his gamble on his own and respect to him. I don't want to like shit on the card he bought, but like for me, I wouldn't have done that. But I also don't have $3 million to just piss off on a piece of cardboard.
Well, you have to remember, Shine was part of that whole Pokemon, that thing.
And that's what and you know what, dude? It almost seems like is this for the social clout of it, or are these genuine things happening? Or is this like hobby theater? Is this hobby fame? Yeah. I truly believe in that. I keep calling it. I've been saying it. There's a thing going around. It's called hobby fame, and people want it.
For clout.
They'll literally post anything on their content. They'll post anything. The most cringe TikTok talking over. I mean, it's like so beta. It's disgusting to see grown men do it. We shouldn't support that. Go do some push-ups. Don't do TikToks with your pieces of cardboard. And this is coming from a guy who does reels when he opens his mail days. Like, your face don't need to be in the picture. It's about the cards. Again, no one wants to see your stupid face. Show your cards. If you're a true hobbyist, but they're marketing something. It's why they're doing all this crap. It's for hobby fame. They don't just want what's best for the hobby. They want a spot on the Mount Rushmore of the hobby.
Indeed. So Kamikaze Sports Card Hybrid says, need some, what? I don't know. What is
Need
that?
some cheese with all this wine.
I don't consider this whining. I think this is more like, talking out loud.
Turn us off.
Yeah.
You gotta listen.
Yeah, some people told me that they hate Watch Me. I'm like, "What? They hate Watch Me?" I'm
Well,
like,
to me, this is like how dudes used to be. This is like barbershop talk. We're talking about the shit we all talk about. Just there happens to be a camera on.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. We're the ones that are
yeah.
willing to speak out loud, because I've had conversation with people that are part of the industry. There's no way they would talk about this publicly on camera.
Oh no, they
No,
wouldn't.
they wouldn't. This is behind closed door talk.
But see, they have a vested interest, and I
Yeah,
would understand why they wouldn't. And but see, people get so mad at like you're not sponsored. You have no vested interest. You don't have a card uh value app to pump. Like you don't have any. Like you're just involved in the hobby.
right.
And you're allowed to have a voice just like anybody else.
Indeed, indeed.
But your ideas make all my Kevin Durant cards go down. Every time you talk, Raul, I watch my Kevin Durant's drop percentages. Damn it, it's all your fault.
Yeah, us pumping Kyrie all the way, and then he
My
got
Kevin
suspended.
Durant kaboom lost 3/4 of its value ever since Sports Card Radio called out fraud on the Crown Royal kabooms. My Kevin Durant kaboom is now worthless. Son of a bitch.
And that's sarcasm.
And you know what's funny is people would really hold you guys accountable for card prices going down instead of Panini or whoever's actually doing the bullshit. It's
Yeah,
your fault. It's not the fact that fraud's happening. It's the fact that you talked about it.
you know what the funny
bad
part
man.
was? People blame me for prices going down. Like, why do you want to be so negative? Why do you want to see your price cards of your own collection or your own
You should just
speculative portfolio go down? I'm like, what?
you should automatically respond. You're welcome for the buying opportunity. That's how I would just say it, own it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, bitch, you're welcome. What do you
Yeah.
really think? Like, and the thing is, nobody actually believes it. You say one to three different channels talking their mind is making card prices going down. Like, if you're that dumb shit blind that you don't see what's going on with the macro economy, you're just an idiot. You're an idiot.
Indeed.
A beta male. Beta.
Jesse Lee Peterson.
God. You told me that conspiracy about him that Milo said. I hope that's not true, but man, he is
Yeah,
so
I think
hated.
he did some inappropriate things,
Hanky
but
pankies.
way worse than hanky panky.
Hankus pankus.
Hankus pankus. Yeah, I think a lot of people, the thing is that, about Tate, I think we were talking about it. I think Tate is like controlled op.
I'm not going to say what I think,
Yeah.
but I agree. I think it's a puppet. I think this is a show. This is a distraction. Something there. The bad lady we talked about earlier, where her boyfriend happened to know the sea people and died in a prison cell where the cameras went off. Like,
Yeah.
it seems like a distraction.
Yeah.
Seems like
It-
what's really going on, and it's almost like we're going to use him as maybe he's a pick puppet for this whole show, so that we don't talk about that lady and that black book of trafficking, but we'll talk about this trafficking because it has to do with a whole bunch of pissed off feminists. I don't know.
Yeah.
The things I've read about this, I'm more worried about that lady and her black book because it was kids, not so much the adult women who pretty much willingly will do the OnlyFans for $9.99 a month. Like, I'm not, if what's said is true, convict them, whatever. But like, I'm more concerned about the black book, about the kids. That's the
Yeah.
trafficking. That's what needs to be talked about, not Andrew Tate with a bunch of adult women that probably willingly engaged in most of the shit they did.
Yeah.
Probably. Did some bad stuff probably happen? Odds are, but like when you put yourself in that situation,
Like, well, what do you expect?
yeah, man, you dance with the devil, he dances back.
Good point. Good point.
Consequences, accountability.
Watching AIH makes me want to buy cards. Best comment of the day.
Hey, he broke the matrix, man. See, you're making cards go up.
Exactly. So no one can say that I'm pushing cards
That
go
makes you
down.
want to buy cards. That was good timing.
Yeah. Anyways, before I let you go, is anything else you want to say?
Oh man, I hope everybody has a blessed new year. Make sure you take some time for yourself. Get your walks in, say your prayers, do some push-ups. Try to not listen to all the bullshit that goes on all the time. Ask questions. If something doesn't make sense, ask questions. It's okay to do that. But mostly everybody stay blessed and have a good new year.
Yep, indeed, indeed. And I appreciate your honest talk tonight.
Always, brother. You know I keep it 100.
Yep. We'll do this another time, man. Thanks for coming on again.
Not a problem.